Time for Thunder Cover with NewsOK.com and the Oklahomans' Darnell Mayberry. Darnell, we talked to you Friday. Did you stay clear of all the storms?
Yeah, I made it out okay. How'd you guys do?
Did all right, man. It got a little nervous there for a second when that storm shifted to the southeast, kind of heading right our way. But you know what? I think all the circumstances, just some hail, some rain, some heavy winds, no big deal. Obviously, Game 7 tonight, Eastern Conference Finals, Darnell. This is a game that a lot of pressure on the Miami Heat. And D. Wade, Chris Bosh have been no-shows for the large part of this series, especially Saturday night. Did not play well, combined 4 of 19. Any chance they get it going tonight?
You know, I think so, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. I think this is going to be one of those games LeBron just comes out and really dominates. Maybe not from start to finish. I do think he'll probably want to get those guys involved, Wade and Bosh. I think LeBron is really going to just take it upon himself to really try to put away this Pacers team.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the thing, too. I just – boy, you know, we've been talking about it all day, and we're both kind of worried that if that's the thing he does, if he does do it alone, he may not have enough there. They're so good whenever they get other guys involved. I don't know. It's going to be tough. Someone's got to step up, though. I mean, LeBron's going to have one of his great games, but someone else is going to have to step up. As good as LeBron is, I don't know that he can do it completely alone, whether it's Haslam, Battier, Mike Miller, Dwayne Wade has a better game, Chris Bosh has a better game, Chris Anderson coming back, and they get what they need out of him. Someone's going to have to step up. LeBron, it can't be like Game 6. Someone's going to have to step up and play some basketball.
Yeah, and I think he will get that. It might not be from Wade and Bosh. It might be, like you said, from Norris Cole and Mario Chalmers, Udonis Haslem. Birdman's coming back after the suspension. So those guys have actually played well, and on both ends, defensively, offensively. Those guys, the guards, Chalmers and Cole, have gotten into the paint and really pressured George Hill and DJ Augustine. So they've really been successful, I think, in this series. And then Haslem, the way he's been hitting those jumpers and really playing defense and rebounding as best he can. I think those guys have given LeBron and the Heat some secondary options aside from LeBron. But, you know, Wade and Bosh, they've got to be able to do something. And they don't have to necessarily score 20. They got to be able to play defense and rebound, make some small plays if they're not going to be able to be effective as scorers.
Got to impact this basketball game, Darnell. And, you know, you said paint right there, points in the paint. You know, whoever wins the points in the paint has won every game in this series. You know, the other night, the Pacers out-rebound the Heat 53-33. It's about rebounding. It's about points in the paint. And maybe it's not throw it to a guy on the block, but we've seen with D. Wade, with LeBron James, even Mario Chalmers at times, their ability, all of them, to get to the rim, to create. And then if a double comes, obviously, easy little dish right there, easy dunks, easy points around the basket. Whoever wins that matchup, Darnell, I think is going to win this basketball game. And we've seen too much in this Miami Heat team, too many jump shots, too many shots from outside of 18, 19, 20 feet. Trying to be too much of a perimeter-oriented team. I think the Miami Heat have to get inside the paint. Maybe it's not throwing it down to somebody on the block, posting up, even though LeBron did have a lot of success with that in Game 3, I believe. They got to find a way to get closer shots to the basket in that paint area because Indiana does that, and they've had a ton of success. Whoever wins that battle in the paint tonight, Darnell, is going to win this game.
Yeah, I think so, and that's been the way the series has gone. You know, the teams that's winning the paint and out-rebounding the other really generally win the games in this series. So that's going to be a key factor. But, again, this could be one of those LeBron James games, guys. I mean, we saw it a few years back against the Pistons when he was when he was with the Cavs, and I think he's setting up for another one of those games. And the Pacers, remember, that they haven't been here before. So, to me, I feel like this is going to be one of those games where it should be competitive, but it might not be, and it could get ugly.
No, it could. I mean, what are there, 7-point favorite, I think I've seen, 7.5. So a big-time favorite right now at home. Everyone's expecting those role players to play much better at home as they typically do. I got to say, though, man, if the Pacers make an effort to go down low early, possibly get those guys into some foul trouble down low, lean on Hibbert a little bit. I'm hoping for a really good game, I guess is what I'm saying. I think the Heat are going to win ultimately, but I'd like to see a game that comes down to the wire there and maybe some last-minute heroics by LeBron.
No doubt about it. Darnell, and you mentioned right there, the Detroit Pistons game. Look at last year, Darnell, Game 6 in the Garden against Boston. What did he go for? 45 and 15 or whatever it was. Even game 4 against the Indiana Pacers, when they're down 2-1, it's halftime, they're losing by close to double digits. What did he go for? I want to say 46 and 18 or 40 and 18, whatever it was. We've definitely seen him do that. Maybe he does. Maybe that's the only way that this team can win when Bosh, if he's nicked up, and Chris Bosh nursing the ankle. It's not a good recipe for winning a world championship. We saw last year against Oklahoma City when the other people got involved, really made this Miami Heat team potent. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it will be enough. If LeBron goes 45 and 15, yeah, that's going to be enough. But if somebody else doesn't step up and help him out, I think it's going to be tough for this Miami Heat team just because from size alone. I mean, throw that aside. From size alone, the Indiana Pacers pose an extreme threat to this Miami Heat team.
Yeah, and, you bring up a lot of good points. And we've even talked about it in the past that LeBron needs help, and he can't do it alone. And actually, if you're trying to, in my opinion, beat the Heat, you have to take away those other guys and try to make LeBron do it alone. But I think in this situation, Miami being at home, this being a closeout game of the Eastern Conference Finals, the Pacers having never been there before, I just think the magnitude of the moment might catch up with those guys and playing in that arena. I mean, that's a tough place to play. I think everything is just going to play into Miami's hands. Even though the Pacers have played them tough in that building throughout this series, man, I'm hoping for a great game because it's setting up to be that way. But it's also, I mean, I got a bad feeling that we might have a dud tonight.
Yeah,
there's definitely always that chance, and D Wade, if he gets hot, I just think early and often you try to get D Wade, you try to get Chris Bosh involved in this basketball game, get their confidence level up, let them see the ball go through the hoop a few times, and then I guess if that doesn't happen, then let LeBron be LeBron. But I think if early and often Chris Bosh, D Wade, if they can get off early, I think it may really help them as this game progresses. Let's get back to Thunder Cover with NewsOK.com and the Oklahomans. Darnell Mayberry staying with Game 7 tonight. Darnell, as we've seen with D-Wade, we talked about this some on Friday. This may just be, 10 seasons, a lot of banging, a lot of pounding. I think he played 3 years there at Marquette, so he's got a lot of mileage on that body. Will he ever be the same D-Wade? I don't know. We'll see if he's able to come around. He looked good during the regular season, but second straight postseason, he struggled with injuries. If it's not, say they lose this game and he's not the same D-Wade, how big of a role is that going to be in the summer of 2014 when LeBron ultimately decides to opt out or stay?
I think it's going to be huge. Just from the simple standpoint, you heard what LeBron said the other night when he said he felt like he had to go back to his Cleveland days with the way he played. And what was that, Game 4, Game 5? So if he feels like that now, I mean, imagine what he's thinking 2 years from now, and if Wade's not going to get any better, you got Kyrie Irving in Cleveland. They got the number 1 pick this year. He could go right back home, and all of a sudden there's a new big three. If they make a trade with that number 1 pick and go out and get a big-time player, I just see that shaping up to be a pretty big storyline because I don't think LeBron's going to want to stick around in Miami. They don't have any young players. They don't have any draft picks. They don't have any cap space, so they can't rebuild that team.
If they do lose, and again, whatever happens in the future, possibly LeBron leaves. I mean, everyone's up, I believe, aren't they? All 3 guys have that opt-out clause?
Yep.
I think so. I definitely think Chris Bosh and LeBron do. I'm sure D-Wade. I'm sure they're all built in the same.
So, we don't know what the future holds, but if they do lose, 1 championship in 3 years, is everyone going to look at this experiment as a failure?
Yeah, and they put that pressure on themselves. But, LeBron specifically by saying not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. So, of course, if they only win 1, this is a epic failure on the part of the Miami Heat and LeBron James, Wade, and Chris Bosh coming together. It had never really been done before. Players in their prime, Stark caliber players of that magnitude, all joining forces and joining one team. So I think if they only get 1, that's going to be an epic failure on their part.
You were talking about that Cleveland Cavaliers team. Dion Waiters, guard out of Syracuse, also had a nice year this year. Ultimately, I think he's going back there. I do. I think he goes back there. I think he wants to win a championship there. We'll see. Time will tell. Let's go on the other side of this. Indiana, coming out party, Paul George, Roy Hibbert, they've been sensational. David West up to his old tricks, dominating inside, just that physicality that he brings. Roy Hibbert, obviously had some controversial comments post-game in Game 6. I don't know what the heck he was thinking. He just kind of lost his mind there for a few minutes. Obviously fined 75 large from the NBA. Do you think any of that, just not even so much the money side of it, but I was listening to Bruce Bowens today talking about this situation, thinks that it might play a role into the mind of Roy Hibbert. For the first time ever, people talking about him in a negative light, talking about, maybe questioning his values, questioning different things in what he said. Do you think that plays any role tonight whatsoever for Roy Hibbert?
I don't think so, and here's why. It's real simple. Roy Hibbert's 7'2". He's going downside in the paint, down low in the paint, and dominating the board, controlling the paint, and really just owning the lane. So it's not like he's out there shooting jumpers and running pick and rolls and really thinking the game. He's just using his size to dominate the Miami Heat. I don't think, mentally that's going to play any part in how he comes out and plays against these guys tonight, because he's still 7'2". He's still going to be able to get putbacks. He's still going to be able to get that nice jump hook that he has going in there. So his game is real simple, and what he does, it's easy for him to do against this team especially, and I don't think anything that he said or any of the controversy that he found is going to impact him negatively tonight.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think so. I think if anything, this is Roy Hibbert's maybe the biggest game of his career, and he's chomping at the bit, ready to go out there and prove himself. They've got nothing to lose. The Pacers, we've all picked the Heat. I think
they got a series to lose.
Well, they do have a series to lose, but think about it. If they lose tonight, everyone's going to say, "Job well done."
Sure,
Boy,
but still, they're going to be upset that they don't win the series. They got a lot to lose. They got a series. They got a chance to play for the NBA Finals, NBA championship tonight.
They do.
For the court of public opinion,
at the same time, they're a big-time underdog. If they go in there and they lose, it's going to be upsetting for them. But also, at the end of the day, the Heat is the team that's got all the pressure. They go in, they perform as good as they can on the road. I just think that he's looking forward to this. I don't think he's worried about the fine, worried about anything else. What if? I think he just goes out there and plays his heart out. I think this is a great opportunity for him.
Well, guys, could you imagine if the Pacers did win this game tonight? Think about that from the Thunder. Think about it from the Thunder's perspective. If Russell Westbrook didn't get hurt, you could potentially be playing the Indiana Pacers in the finals instead of the Miami Heat.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess, and then all of a sudden Kendrick Perkins, who's one of the better low post defenders in basketball, he could have really proven his worth right there in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, not only that, but the way that the Pacers are dominating the Heat inside, the Heat don't really have many players that can contend with that. The Thunder sort of really built to contend with that, with Serge Ibaka on David West and Perkins on Hibbert, and you got Hasheem Thabeet with his size coming off the bench. I mean, that would have set up incredibly well for the Thunder, and it's just a shame Russell Westbrook went down. And of course, I'm assuming that they would have gone on and beaten the Grizzlies, and then they would have had to get past the Spurs. But still, I mean, if you're playing the what-if game, man, that's a heck of an untimely injury for Russell Westbrook.
No, there's no time about it, and it would have been a fun matchup. I'm just wondering, Danny Granger going to come back next year. Last year their only All-Star. He's not even playing this year. He's been hurt all season. If he gets back next year, this team's going to be a year older. Paul George is going to be a year older. Roy Hibbert a year older. Now even more seasoned. They're kind of making that progression, as we saw the Oklahoma City Thunder last year go to the second round. Now the Eastern Conference Finals, possibly NBA Finals. Will they be the favorite in the East next year as we go into next year? All of a sudden, is this Pacers team with Frank Vogel, who's an outstanding coach, are they going to be viable for the near future in a team that people look at as maybe the dominant team in the East?
Yeah, they might have to do something with Granger. I'm not sure he's going to be long for Indiana with his contract and with Paul George's emergence. So, and Roy Hibbert's got a max deal too. They've got to bring David West back. He's a free agent. So they've got some questions that they need answers to. But the winner of tonight's game could really shape the direction of two franchises, Miami and Indiana. So Chris Bosh, if he doesn't play well, what are they going to do with him? Dwayne Wade's injury we talked about. LeBron James, is he going to want to stick around? So if the Heat lose tonight, we could see the Miami Heat break up that team. If the Pacers win, we could see them emerge as sort of the cream of the crop of the East. But also don't count out Chicago with Derrick Rose coming back next year. They still got Joakim Noah, Luol Deng. They got some great pieces around them. I think they're going to be better and be right back in the thick of it next year in the East.
Yeah, any way you look at it, there's a lot riding on the game tonight, a reason for a lot of people to be watching. Just like you mentioned, the Oklahoma City Thunder fans, watching the game the other night with a bunch of people, everyone rooting against the Heat, just because everyone's still got the sour taste in their mouth from last year's finals, everyone rooting against them. But then, if the Pacers win, you have that cheer, and then you have that big sigh just thinking, oh, my goodness, what could have been? Possibly a really good chance to win a title. I thought that was a great point, but just a ton of reasons to watch the game tonight. I'll be tuned in for sure. I hope it's a good one. I know there's a chance that the Heat may blow them out. Everyone comes together right there at home, but, man, I'm sure hoping for a close game.
I'll be honest with you guys. I've been rooting for the Pacers in this series, partly because, the Miami Heat, the way they came together, you kind of want to see some new blood and root for the underdog. I'm sort of one of those, I like to root for the underdog type of guys. But if the Pacers win, it's going to be a dud NBA Finals. I'm hoping that it's a great game tonight, but at the end of the night, I'm hoping that the Heat win because I'd like to see the Spurs Heat. Because if it's Spurs-Pacers, I don't think the Pacers stand a chance against the Spurs. So for the NBA Finals purposes, we got to have Miami winning tonight.
We always hear about the NBA conspiracy theorists. There might be a whistle or two in Miami's favor tonight because if you're David Stern, if you're the NBA, San Antonio, Indiana, that's not what you're wanting for your NBA Finals when you're looking at ratings.
Yeah, and any questionable call whatsoever tonight is going to blow up on social media, Twitter, all of that. People are going to be texting each other. They know that the refs are going to probably try to make sure that there's no questions, there's no sort of doubt about who they won in the finals. I mean, you're going to see Miami get a lot of questionable calls, and I think the conspiracy theorists are going to be out in full effect tonight.
No doubt about it. Is Joey Crawford part of the staff tonight? Have you heard? Is he part of the crew?
You know what? I should have looked that up earlier and tweeted it out. I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me. But Joey Crawford actually goes against the home team. That's one thing that a lot of people don't know. He actually favors the road team a lot more than he does the home team historically. So that would be a bad thing for Miami if Joey Crawford's on the floor.
No doubt about it. Great stuff. It is Thunder Cover brought to you with NewsOK.com and the Oklahomans. Darnell Mayberry. Enjoy the game tonight. I think we all three like the Heat. Hopefully it's a good basketball game.
All right, guys. Take care.